Welcome to part 3 of my look back at my Bionicle Revival series. This part we're gonna be taking a look at the rest of the series through the many scripts that I'd written here. This was my little script folder. It's just a very whimsy paper folder, and inside were the handwritten scripts that I wrote. I wrote up to like episode 5 or 6 that were only a couple pages long, nothing too complex. But when we last left off in the show, we were seeing if the Toa would be brought back by Matanui. And at the start of the episode 3, which would have been titled Toa, our characters would get brought back. Now, in my original script, the characters would have not been the Toa Metru. Sorry, the Toa Nuva, the original Toa Nuva. Because at the time, I didn't have any sets for Liwa or Pohatu. And so I would have replaced them with Kongu and Huki because those were the green and brown sets that I have. But when I did re-edit the script, I did just bring back Liwa and Pohatu in the final script. And so basically what would have happened in that episode is that our characters are brought back. There'd be a bunch of exposition about what's going on, who the characters were. Each character would have gotten a role to speak. Because like there were so many characters to keep track of, especially with like the Toambada, you just had to make sure that you were getting the character right. And that's why it took forever for me to even get to the episode, or in the case, not get to the episode. So they would formulate a plan of attack, and then they would go and try to attack. But then at the end of the episode, a couple of the characters would get captured, and that led us into the 4th episode called Prisoner. So, yeah, some characters would be taken prisoner, and while at the prison, they would run into the the Fire Lord from Hero Factory. I forget what his name was. The Fire King, or the Fire Lord. Anyway, in the next episode, entire title interrogation, our characters would have been interrogated, and it would have been a not great time. And then the next episode after that was The Voice of Makuta, and that was the last episode I had written anything for. But, I had planned for 13 episodes, and we weren't even done yet. So what the rest of the show for their first season would have been like is that characters would escape somehow. We'd have this final conflict with all of our characters together, fighting against the evil Hero Factory. Furno would wear his evil regalia and activate his reality bomb that would destroy the Bionicle dimension. Fight, fight, fight. In the end, our Bionicles, they get their reality bomb and throw it into the Hero Factory universe, blow it up. And that was the end of season 1. Season 2 was the one that I was really excited for because, I was gonna be less of Hero Factory and more of just our characters, our main characters trying to survive afterwards. But Mukuda would have come back in the finale, and in the next season he would have been our big bad. And so, and one of the arcs I would have had is that Tahu would have been infected with a shadow leech, and he would go on his evil arc and become a pseudo bad guy against our characters like he tends to do every now and then. It would have been cool. I had a design all made up for him and everything. And so I didn't have the exact details about what the rest of the 13 episodes were, but all this stuff would have taken place around that time. Vizon would have separated from Vizok, and wreak havoc. In the end, we defeat Makuta, but he kind of escapes and ends up in a parallel dimension, and the final shot would have been our main six Toa, the Toa Nuva, jumping into the portal, ending up in the parallel dimension, and that would have been the start of Generation 2 of Bionicle, where I end up Bionicle Revival, they enter the portal, and then we go to Generation 2 of Bionicle, where they go to Otaku. And that was my way of connecting the two different canons of the Bionicle universe. Um, but like I mentioned in the last episode, we got to the third episode. I sent it to my script supervisor, Toa Legend, who was my go-to Bionicle historian, and he didn't really reply to the script because we were really busy at the time. And then I moved to a different house, so the all of my locations were like gone, and I had a much smaller room, and really, it was just not gonna work out. And so eventually we just ended the project, and that's where Lays sits. Every once in a while I think about the idea of completing the script and making it into an audio drama, but I don't have that same passion as I did 10 years ago. So that's where it is. So thank you for joining me today and those other episodes where I talk about the process of Bionicle Revival. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Bye.